Hello and welcome to another Demon 212 original SNES cart review. Today I'm going to be taking a look at Chrono Trigger, which if you've never played the game before, then basically it's an RPG. So at the start here you basically get to choose a save file or you can create a new one, and New Game Plus, just in case you're wondering, is for when you beat the game once you can play through it again with all your levels and that. So I'm just going to go into a save file here where I'm at the start of the game. This is basically the map screen, but I'll get onto that a little bit later, because the whole point is this is, well, it's an odd one. It's an RPG with a difference, because it's an RPG about time travelling. So you start off just in your normal time, and you basically get a little fairground to go around so you can play some mini games, talk to people, you can like buy items and things from the local stalls, and this is just one of the mini games here. So anyway, as I was saying, you're basically going around your own time, just having some fun at the fair, and next thing you know, you wander onto a time spot, which are all over the place, and you get sent to medieval times. There's time spots, as I say, all over the place, and unless you're actually reading a guide or something, then you're not going to know where you're actually going to be transported to unless you go there. But you can also get a time machine, which as soon as you get the time machine, you're able to actually go fight the end boss, which is a pretty cool thing. So you can either like skip all the story and just fight the end boss, and depending on when you fight him, depends on what one of the 13 endings you get. The time machine also allows you to traverse this map here a bit better, because you can obviously go around it faster. You can get to the mountains easier, you can get to the caves easier, basically in them you'll find enemies and items. You can also get to the buildings easier, things like the marketplace again, where you can buy items, things like the inns, where you can go and get yourself healed up. But as I say it, there's also the story part on the map here. So this is basically the cathedral, where you've got to head to first. Combat in the game is actually a very unique one. You can choose two different ways to play it. The way I've got on at the moment is active, but I will explain both ways, because way is just the normal standard turn-based RPG. You take a turn, they take a turn, etc, etc. Active means that you've got to pay attention to those bars over in the, well, they're currently in the bottom right of the screen, but the bars can swap all over the place. You can also swap them yourself, to be fair. You can even switch them right the way off. But you've got to pay attention to them, because active is you can only attack when those bars are full. And once those bars are full, as I say, you've got an attack, but you've got to be quick about it. You've got to choose what you want to do when you want to do it, because the enemy won't wait for you to attack to have its attack. So if you're just standing around trying to think of what to do next, they're going to beat the crap out of you. As well as the grunts, which you've just seen is fighting, of course you get some boss fights, and you usually tread some story like this bit here. As you might be able to see on the top left and top right of the screen, there's treasure chests around the place. Basically you want to be opening them, because there's not only some useful items like potions and things like that, but there's some weapons and armour and things. But I'll get onto them a bit later when I'm actually able to show you the RPG's menus, because there's actually quite a lot to talk about with them, because again it adds to the whole uniqueness of the thing. It's got the time travelling, it's got the different types of combat, there's absolutely all sorts. But this is basically one of the bosses that you'll fight along the way, who God only knows what he's supposed to actually look like. But anyway, there's the way the combat works, as I was saying, you've got the active and the wait. You've also got the party system. Basically you can have 3 people in your party, and you'll get party members while you play the game. You'll get a cave girl from the prehistoric age, you'll get a robot from the future age, just things like that. And they've each got 8 different techs, which you might want to refer to them as magics, because they are kind of magic. Basically, the techs are all sorts of different spells that you'll learn, so you can like do fire, or you can just do immense sword attacks and things like that. There's then 45 double techs in the game, because you can actually use 2 techs together at the same time with different people, so you can team them up and they'll do special techs. And then there's 10 triple techs in the game. So choosing your party is definitely something you're going to want to spend some time doing, because obviously it's going to depend on what type of double and treble techs you can do, and obviously there are some that are better than others. So there we go then, that was a bit of the music and just a few of the attacks you can do. I didn't really want to show much of that fight off because I didn't want to spoil anything by showing you any tactics or anything like that, so I just thought, mess around, show you the attacks. But anyway, onto the menu screens now, although before I do, the only other thing I haven't mentioned is that there's food on the game. So if you're wandering around and you see some food, eat it, because it can heal you. So anyway, the menu screen. The first one, you've got the status where you can view like, well, what your current weapon is, so you can see like how good it is compared to other weapons that you've collected. Obviously you can view your defense, things like that as well. You can view how much power you've got, your speed, evasion, just things like that, as well as what type of magic your character can learn and what type of status they're in. So obviously if you're poisoned or if you're asleep or if you've got lock on so you can't use tech attacks, just things like that, they're the statuses. There's obviously more than that, but they're just a few of them. You can also view the time that you've been playing the game and the gold. Items, you can view all sorts of things. You can see what other items you've got there for like accessories and armor and things. You can also actually view the items and use them. The yellow ones that you can use right there and then, the other ones aren't. Basically you can get tonics to heal you, you can get things to give you more mana power like magic power or anything, and you can organise them as well, as you might have just thought. Text, so basically obviously you can view what text you've got. Configuration is basically all sorts of different things. You can change the speed of the battle, you can change the window colour, you can change how the battle gauges work. You can like customise your controls, which is brilliant because I love games where I can do that. You can put menu cursors on and save cursors, you can change what type of battle mode you're on. There's just all sorts of options like that. Exchange here is basically for when you've got other party members, like more than 3, you can swap them out. And the last one was save, which obviously is just you save your game. You can't save everywhere, but there are specific conditions to it. Basically, when you're on this map screen here, you can save whenever you want to, but when you're actually in places, in like story places like the cathedral where you're fighting enemies, you've got to go to designated save points, which is where one of the best items in the game comes in, called Shelter, which basically pretty much fully heals you anyway. So that's pretty much everything there is to say about the review, other than that obviously graphically the game is pretty damn good looking, and I've already let you listen to the amazing music. It's a shame I couldn't let you listen to more because there are some fantastic pieces on the game, and that's probably because this is a fantastic game. Personally, I love it. It's one of my favourite SNES games, and it's just crushing that it never actually came to Europe. The only way to get it was to buy the American version in a converter. But now obviously we've got the DS version coming soon, so hopefully that'll be as good as this version. That's been the review though, as I say. I hope you've enjoyed it. If so, please subscribe to my videos because there'll be plenty more on the way. Also, don't forget to check out my channel. It doesn't matter whether you're on Gamula or YouTube. I've got a channel that you can view my other videos on, although there's a lot more of them on YouTube because there's some that I can't put up on Gamula. And this has been Demon212 signing off.